Ni hao. This is Oliver from the Jewelsmith. I hope everyone's having a blessed week. Today on the Jewelsmith Designs, we're finally going to start doing some shapes and doing some CAD.
Who wants to have some fun?
As promised, we're going to learn some functions this week. Extrude curve. We're also going to do Boolean difference and sweep one rail. So if you're ready, let's do this. All right, let's start with the circle down here in the front view. F4 to get the center, and then we're going to make it 17.3 diameter, which is approximately a size 7 finger size. All right, I don't like this color, so let's go over here and change it a little more red. There you go, so it's a little more, you can see it better. All right, well, what we'll do is I'll select it. We're going to offset this curve. We want the ring to be 2.5 millimeters wide. I'm sorry, not wide, thick. So we'll offset it 2.5 millimeters, and we'll select it. Another thing here, if you select from left to right, you have to choose the whole object. If you select from right to left, you can just choose a portion of the object and it'll select the entire thing. So we're going to go to Extrude Planar Curve, Straight, make sure both sides and yes are checked. And when we go into perspective, you can make it whatever dimension you want, but let's put in 3 because it's both sides, so it'll actually be 6 millimeters wide. So that's a simple way with extruding. Let's move this over here. Take the O-snaps off. We'll move it over a little bit. And then we'll change. Let me hide this. So we're going to change it. I'm going to O-snaps again. Okay, back to circle. F4 again for center. 17.3. And then now we are going to offset it once again. And if you look up here, it's already on 2.5 because that's what we used last. All right, so I'm going to select these curves. Actually, let's just select the outside curve and we'll extrude this again. Straight. Extrude it to 3 millimeters because it is both sides still. It will be 6 millimeters wide. So we have a tube, solid tube that's 6 millimeters wide. Now we'll come in here from the front view and select the inside curve. And now we can extrude this from perspective. Just make sure that it's wider than the first curve. Now we'll select, let's see, let me change this color so we can see. All right, here we go. All right, so let's go into the Boolean function. And then we will select Boolean difference, and it asks us to select the polysurface to subtract from, which is this. Enter, and then polysurface to subtract with, which is this, and enter. Delete input is yes, and when we hit enter, it cuts out that center section. All right. Now let's select this again And we'll move this over. Let me hide this, and then we'll go to our final, which is probably the way you're going to be using most. Let's go into the right view, and then we're going to select rectangle, and then we're going to do the rectangle with conic corners, the right click here. We'll select center. We'll snap it. Make sure your O snaps are on. We'll snap it right to the quad. And then we will make it 6 millimeters wide and 2.5 millimeters tall or thick. And then with the conic corners, we can actually make the corners rounded to give it a softer look. So I'm going to select this rectangle or the profile. I'm going to move it from this point back to the quad, snap it right there. All right. So now, if we look from the perspective view, we've got the ring rail and we have the profile. So let's go to surface. We're going to sweep one rail because we only have one rail. Select that. Select cross-section curves or the profile. And then we'll hit enter. And then this arrow is the seam. So we want to hide this seam. I'm going to put it right here in the center. And then, oops. When we hit enter, that's what we come up with. So you can see that it's got that that profile. The cross section made the profile made it a little softer. Now let's bring up our first one. There you go. And you can see the differences in how we basically made the same ring, the different methods. You can see how the other ones are sharp, but this one has the softer because we used a softer profile. Thanks for watching. Please click the subscribe button and ring the bell so you'll be notified when my new episode comes online. Until then, may the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus.